Here is an illustrated summary of the news. It'll be followed by the latest film of events and happenings at home and abroad.
Hi, welcome back to Inside the Jury Room. Today, we stand on the edge of a verdict. 12 men have just finished deliberating over the fate of a teenage boy accused of murdering his father. We don't have the jury's final answer yet, but we know what happened inside that room, and it's a story of conflict, conscience, and change. This isn't just a murder trial, it's a mirror held up to the justice system and to ourselves. With me are Alex, Sam, and Wiley. Let's break down what this case has revealed about how truth gets decided.
Here's the story as it unfolds. A 16-year-old boy from a poor urban background was arrested after his father was found stabbed in their apartment. The prosecution presented what looked like a slam dunk case. The boy had a history of violence, he was seen leaving the scene, and two neighbors testified. One heard a shout, the other saw the murder happen. In the jury room, 11 men were ready to convict. Only juror number 8 held out. That moment of hesitation became a turning point. Over hours of deliberation, the jurors revisited every piece of evidence and doubt reasonable doubt began to spread.
Each juror brought more than logic to the table. They brought themselves, their fears, their past, and their prejudice. Juror number 3, explosive temper. He pushed the guilty verdict the hardest, but by the end, we saw that his anger wasn't about the case. It was about his estranged son. He was punishing the boy on trial for someone else's sin.
And juror number 10, openly racist. He assumed the boy was guilty because of where he came from. But one of the most powerful moments, when the other turned their back on his rants. Since silence as resistance, that said more than any argument.
Juror number 8, through, though he's the heart of the story. Not a lawyer, not a hero in the usual sense. Just someone who chose to ask questions. His patience, his willingness to listen, that changed everything.
And juror number 9, the oldest man in the room, he saw himself in the lonely old witness. That's what pushed him to reconsider. The characters weren't symbols, they were people, complex human.
Let's talk about what this all means, the themes underneath the case.
One of the biggest, justice requires doubt. You can't rush to judgment. The moment someone said, "I'm not sure," it opened space for the truth to breathe.
And bias blinds us. This trial isn't just about a boy and a knife. It's about how we see people based on class, race, and background. The jurors had to confront their own prejudice to do their job right.
Yeah, there's also moral courage. It's easy to go with the group, but juror number 8 stood alone for what he believed was right. That took guts. Real justice depends on people who won't fold under pressure.
And finally, human dignity. The trial reminds us that everyone deserves to be heard, even a scared boy with no one in his corner. That's what the law is supposed to protect.
The whole story takes place in one hot, claustrophobic jury room. No fancy courtroom drama, just 4 walls, a table, and time ticking.
That pressure cooker setting, it forces everything to the surface. Prejudice, ego, conscience.
And there's no escape. No phones, no distraction, just people, their arguments, and their conscience.
The setting is the trial. It's not about the outside world. It's about what people are willing to do when no one's watching. From what we've learned, the jurors are done deliberating. After hours of arguments, reversals, and revelations, we believe they reached a unanimous not guilty.
This wasn't easy. They didn't all agree because they liked the boy. They agreed because they realized they couldn't be sure. That's the difference.
The standard isn't proof he didn't do it. It's proof he did beyond reasonable doubt. And in the end, they couldn't.
One quiet voice changed the course of 12 minds. That's the power of reflection in a room full of noise.
This case isn't just a courtroom story, it's a warning, a reminder that justice isn't just about the facts, it's about how we see them and whether we're brave enough to ask the hard questions.
We'll be watching closely as the verdict is read. But no matter what happens, this trial showed us how fragile and how powerful justice can be.
Because sometimes it's not the loudest voice that brings the truth, it's the one that's willing to say, I don't know.
And maybe that's just where justice begins. Not in certainty, but in humility.
We'll be back soon with post-verdict reactions. Until then, stay curious, stay compassionate, and never stop thinking for yourself. Good night.